Hi there, this is Life Prepper here, and I come across this article saying why are preppers hated so much by Michael Snyder. It was published December 10th, 2012. It's right here. Here's the article that you can see. You can go to that, pull it up, read on it some more. You might want to save it, who knows? But it's talking about here. Have you noticed that it has become trendy to bash preppers? For a long time, the prepper movement was ignored, but now it has become so large that it's getting very difficult for the mainstream media to pretend that there is not. In fact, it has been established that there are now approximately, you hear that? 3 million preppers. Now, they throw the bushcraft people, the survivors, the preppers all in basic one group when they do that. But each one has their own thing they do. Living off the grid, prepping. Everybody's different in their things, but yet they are all the same in many ways too. Even though they don't like being considered that. Skeptics out there have picked up on this trend. Instead of addressing the very real issues that have caused millions of Americans to prepare for the worst. The worst! That's right! Those criticizing the prepper movements attempt to put the focus on individual personalities. Personalities! Means you're crazy. That's right. Shh, don't let them know that. That's right. They try to find the strangest nut jobs they possibly can and then hold them up as a typical prepper. We're not all like that. Matter of fact, the majority of us are not. A lot of them who do put things up and prepare for things don't even go on any websites. They have no desire. They just go, do book, they read, they research, and they don't join any of these groups out there at all. Period. They're out to just take care of their families and their friends and immediate people around them in a situation if something should happen. Bottom line. Okay, so they try to find a strange nut job, as we said. Uh, the criticism of preppers have been ramped up in recent months, and this will likely even get worse. Often hit pieces on the prepper movement are disguised as articles or shows that are supposed to be balanced look at the movement. So basically what they're, and it's talking about Doomsday Prepper. The Doomsday Prepper show, I don't think helped preppers in a lot of ways. I think a lot of people was not even aware they was there. I mean, it was a case when I started watching, I was going, oh my goodness, there's people out there that does all that. I never had thought about some of the stuff they was doing. Not saying is they're not right about it in many ways. I've thought about self-defense and barricading what I would have to do in a situation. Don't get me wrong, but I've never actually thought about going out and building pot bombs or poured silver or some of the other stuff. How they made a lot of them really, really look stupid. I mean, they just, and then they told off on themselves. You know, shh, don't be telling them you built something other. Because now the government's going to be knocking at your door, wanting to know why you didn't get a permit for this, hitting you up with fines and everything, because you built it illegally. Shh, don't be. So yeah, it didn't really help it, and they found something wrong with everybody. It was never good enough, never good enough. So I think the show lasted 3 or 4 years. Then it finally got taken off the air. Uh, even if you go on such shows and try to do your best to explain your prepping in a rational and a coherent manner, uh, they will still edit the footage so it makes you look like a freak. I talk about a couple of them, especially the one from my home state. They really made him look crazy, and then he turned around. They sent him a letter saying he was crazy. He already had issues to begin with. So going on the air made it even worse because they made this rather overweight man, look dumb. Basically, they really did, because he said he lives in his bunker for like 2 months out of the year, and he's showing all the beans he saves. But the thing is, uh, he has a huge following. That's one reason they was picking out people that had huge followings, or even some that didn't have huge followers, to see if they would be willing. So really, they didn't really make him look good. I hate to say that, because I wasn't really impressed with him. I wasn't impressed at all. So he's talking about this Los Angeles Times reporter marked other groups of Americans in a similar manner. Still, it's hard not to feel for young Jason from the tiny plateau, Montana, Missouri, who is awaiting worldwide financial collapse with his homemade, nail-studded Matt Ballback. Talking about the kid, the 15-year-old kid who feels the need to prep, made fun of him. Or for Big Al from Nashville, who's getting ready for old school nuclear war by digging down into the earth and surrounding himself with steel. I prefer not to use the term bunker. And then it says it's an underground house. He spends months at a time by himself down there training for the inevitable, which explains expects to weather alone, cooking different combinations of canned goods, and spending too much time alone, one leg pump, constantly as he talks. The preppers don't want my pity, of course. Quite the opposite, I'm sure. The joke would be on me. They would say, well, I am inspiring from fallout or smallpox, being carried away in a tornado or torn apart by the hungry, ravaging hordes. I am not even prepared for the big earthquake that might probably get me. So, he's basically mocking it, basically saying, so he's like, yeah, whatever. So he didn't really look good. But to establish, he's made it clear that the open season on preppers, also this particular writer mocks them with no fear. Not that any prepper that is thinking clearly will go on a show such as Doomsday Prepper anyway. Sure, it's nice to be on television, but if you are a serious prepper, then one of the last things you want to do is go on a television and advertise your preparation to millions of people, because they're going to be knocking at your door. Yes, I do my YouTube site. I'm out there, but the difference is that I don't have 5 years of stuff. Mine is down to basic. Mine is surviving off the land. Mine is getting through one day to the next and teaching myself and learning. I'm not going to show I don't have 500 guns. I don't have 5 years of food stocked up. I don't have that. Would I like to have more food stocked up? Sure. Am I working on trying to have a little bit extra? Of course. Extra bag of beans, extra bags of rice. But having 5 years of food ain't going to do me no good if it all gets stolen. So, and then others have picked up the content that Savage has for preference and have started to issue their own criticism of the movement. For example, emergency manager named Valerie recently published a blog post entitled Doomsday Preppers Are Socially Selfish. You might wonder why someone like me, who has been in the business of encouraging disaster preparation for a very long time, is so critical of people who are doing just that. It's because they are being socially selfish, preparing themselves and the hell with everyone else. Oh, goodness. Instead of spending time and emergency making changes that would benefit the larger community, in their very narrow focus of loyalty, they are more concerned about themselves. Emergency managers can't afford that kind of attitude. It is opposed to everything we do, dramatically opposed to everything we do. Our job is to prepare individuals and communities and regions and ultimately the globe for disasters, knowing we won't always succeed. She follows up the venom attack with another blog post in which she declares the following: selfish design is concerned exclusively with oneself, or concentrating on one's own advantage or well-being without regards for others. By that definition, doomsday preppers are socially selfish. Disaster preppers are not. Well, she had issued a very brief apology, but what she wrote is very typical of the type of thinking that is out there these days. Anyone that does not trust the government and attempts to be self-sufficient is actually very selfish and is not being a good citizen. Oh well, I guess we're just not being a good citizen. And sadly, it appears that being a prepper is now enough to get special attention from the authorities. For example, a 46-year-old prepper in rural Maryland named Terry Porter recently had his home raided by 150 armed law enforcement officers. Details of the incident was described in a recent article by Paul Joseph Watson. So if y'all want to check that one out, it was written by Paul Joseph Watson. Excuse me. According to the charges document filed in Washington County District Court, Porter openly admitted to being a prepper as if it was an illegal act in and of itself, and said that it was very irritating about the recent president election. Porter had also investigated into an underground bomb shelter, into an underground bomb shelter, and had installed surveillance camera on his property. Once the investigators in Porter began, police discovered that he had a 1992 felony drug conviction and was therefore barred from owning firearms. Only no less than 150 arms and military police and FBI in the request of tactical assault teams descended on Porter's house as if they were confronting a terrorist cell. The raid also included helicopters, SWAT crew, armored vehicles, and even evacuation equipment. Porter was absent at the time of the raid, but turned himself in the next one at the area. After the raid, the claim that Porter was stockpiling 10 to 15 machine gun style firearms was demolished when police uncovered 4 shotguns. They swore he had 10 to 15 machine guns, and they only found 4 shotguns, and a 30-30 caliber rifle, and 2 22 caliber rifles, and hardly a deadly mass of arsenal. I think that's arsonists. You know what I mean. Would 150-year-old officer have shown up at his home if they had not been identified as a prepper? Of course not. Wow, but preppers have been labeled as dangerous and crazy, and that is the way that law enforcement authorities now treat us. You see? Man, I do that. Just be really straight. Sorry, that southern slang. So why do preppers just hate it so much? It is because they are a directed challenge to the status quo. Just by prepping, preppers are proclaiming that they do not have faith in the system, but most people have complete and total faith in the system, and many of them do not like to have that faith questioned. As I have written about in other articles, Poland has found that most Americans expect that the government will take care of them if disaster strikes. Most people have been trained to trust these experts and to trust the government all of their lives, and that conditioning can be very difficult to overcome. So, this blind faith in the system is a big reason why so many Americans have not made any preparation at all. In fact, one recent poll discovered that most Americans do not have 3 days worth of food in their homes. I've talked about that, where we've got go food happy. We stop by the restaurants, we get our food, and we just live in town and we go to the store every other day. And that's what we do. We don't really put up. Another poll discovered that 64% of all Americans are prepared for a major natural disaster. So what is going to happen to them if something even worse than a major natural disaster hits? For example, what if the electric grid went down and we had no more power for any extended period of time? Well, One survey found that 21% of all Americans believe that they would survive for less than a week, and an additional 28% of all Americans believe that they would survive for less than 2 weeks. Close to 75% of the Americans said they would be dead before the 2-month mark. You hear that? Did you hear just what I said? Wow. So, this in here is just talking about basically why they don't like preppers, why our preppers hate us so much. We are viewed as being selfish. The Doomsday Show did not help us any. It made people think of us as a bunch of nut jobs, and truth is, most of us nothing like it. I'm unique. I've always been unique. I'm a character. I have my issues just like anybody else. I don't get into the politics with people. I don't really care anymore who's who in the office anymore. I just don't care because I can't do anything about it. They're going to do what they're going to do. All I can do is to take care of myself, my family, and my friends the best way I possibly can, and to make sure that if something should happen, natural wise or whatever, that I've got enough food to last us for a little while to survive, and to use the knowledge that I've learned to help keep us going in a SHTF event, whether it's a local one, statewide, or worldwide. So this is Life Prepper here. I want you to be safe, be happy, bless you all, and look this up.